My heart raced as I stared at the tiny screen on my phone, the flickering image revealing a truth I never wanted to see. Lauren, my son Mark's wife, stepped into our apartment with an air of confidence that made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. I could hardly breathe. It was Tuesday, the day I had dreaded, the day I had grown to loathe, and the day everything changed for me. I had suspected something was off for months. The way Mark's eyes lingered on Lauren when he thought no one was watching, the late-night phone calls that always seemed to end the moment I walked into the room. I felt the sinking sensation in my stomach each time I saw them together, laughing and joking as if nothing was wrong. I had lived in that uncomfortable space of doubt and fear long enough. I needed to know the truth, so I took matters into my own hands. I set up the hidden camera in the corner, just above the bookshelf where the family photos gathered dust. I told myself it was just a precaution, a way to put my mind at ease. But deep down, I feared I would confirm the very thing I dreaded, that my son had betrayed me, and worse, that his wife was part of it. As the video rolled, it began to unfold like a terrible dream. There was Lauren, looking so at home in my space, tossing her long hair over her shoulder, just like she did whenever she was at our family gatherings, charming everyone around her. She walked confidently to the kitchen, opened a drawer, and pulled out an envelope. My pulse quickened as I leaned closer to the screen. She placed it carefully on the counter, her eyes darting around as if she was being watched. "What the hell is that?" I whispered to myself, my stomach twisting in knots. After a few tense moments, she turned and left, leaving me in stunned silence. The envelope sat there like a ticking bomb. I watched the footage again and again, trying to decode what I had just witnessed. My body felt heavy with the weight of betrayal, a burden I was not sure how to carry. Days turned into weeks, and each Tuesday brought renewed anguish. I soon realized Lauren's visits were not random. They followed a pattern that echoed with deception. Mark, who claims to be busy with work, was likely wrapped up in something far more sinister. I started to note the time she visited, the way she'd always leave the envelope behind, which I never saw again. It was a cruel game, and I was tired of being a pawn in it. I shifted from a passive observer to an investigator. I spent countless nights scouring the internet for tips on how to gather evidence, how to document everything without drawing suspicion. I began to collect proof, taking notes, snapping pictures whenever I could. The truth felt like a fog creeping over me, and I was determined to clear it. That determination ignited a sense of control I hadn't felt in a long time. Each day would bring its set of challenges, hiding my unease from Mark, feigning normalcy at family dinners. But with every piece of evidence I collected, my resolve grew stronger. I had a mission now. I was no longer the scared mother who felt trapped. I was a woman ready to fight for what was mine. "Mom, you'll never guess what I found," Mark exclaimed one evening, bursting into the room with excitement. "Not now, sweetie," I said, forcing a smile as I tried to hide the turmoil inside. "Come on, it's important," he insisted, showing me a new project he'd been working on at work. As he spoke, my mind wandered to Lauren and what she had left behind. I wanted to scream, to shake Mark awake from the blissful ignorance that colored his world. But how could I tear down the facade without shattering him? I spent weeks preparing for the inevitable showdown. The day I finally confronted Mark, my heart thundered in my chest. I was ready. I had evidence. I had clarity. "Mom, you need to apologize to Lauren. You're overreacting," he said, his voice laced with confusion. I just smiled, that empty smile that felt foreign to me now. "I'm not apologizing for wanting to protect my family, Mark." "Don't you care about our happiness?" he shot back, hurt flashing across his face. The weeks dragged on, and with every Tuesday that passed, I watched Lauren enter my son's apartment from the hidden camera I had set up in the living room. I felt like a ghost, a silent observer in a world that wasn't mine anymore. Each time she walked through that door, my heart raced and my stomach twisted. I focused on the envelope she left behind, my mind spinning in a whirlwind of anger and disillusionment. What was she doing? What was inside that envelope? On one particularly dreary Tuesday, I mustered the courage to go through the footage.
I watched as Lauren came in, her chipper demeanor contrasting sharply with the storm brewing inside me. She smiled, a genuine-looking smile, and there was my son, Mark, greeting her with open arms. They shared a brief kiss, an innocent gesture perhaps, but it felt like a dagger to my heart. I leaned closer to the screen, my pulse quickening as she placed the envelope down on the coffee table. And just like that, a piece of my world shattered. What's in it? Why does she leave it behind? I whispered to myself, frustration boiling over. I decided to act. If the envelope was that important to her, it had to contain something significant. I needed proof. With every passing day, my determination strengthened, and an unexpected sense of control began to take shape. I realized that I wasn't powerless in this situation. I could gather evidence and discover the truth, even if it meant diving into a dark and painful abyss. The first thing I did was start a log. I documented every Tuesday, noting her arrival time, the way she interacted with Mark, and the moments that felt too intimate for comfort. I kept my tone neutral, but inside I was a tempest of emotions. I could feel the weight of my suspicions pressing down on me, and with each entry, I recognized the gathering storm of deceit around my family. One evening, as I flipped through my notes, I decided to confront Mark about his wife's peculiar habits. I invited him over for dinner, trying to keep the atmosphere light. "Mark, have you noticed anything strange about Lauren's behavior lately?" I asked, cooking up his favorite meal, hoping the aroma would diffuse the tension I felt brewing. Mark chuckled. "Mom, you watch too many crime shows. Lauren is just busy with work. You know how it is." I watched him, wishing I could believe him, wishing I could silence the voice inside my head that screamed otherwise. "I just want you to be careful, sweetheart. You know that." His expression hardened, and a frown creased his forehead. "Mom, I love my wife. We're fine. You don't need to worry." The conversation ended there, but my unease only deepened. After he left, I sunk back onto the living room couch, feeling the weight of my decisions. I looked back at the footage and saw Lauren again, her smile and warmth. "What a fool you've made of us," I whispered, feeling an ache in my chest. My investigation continued, and on another Tuesday, I watched as Lauren walked in, her expression somewhat anxious. She glanced around nervously, and I could feel a twist of hope. Maybe she was hiding something? I waited, my breath caught in my throat, as she once again left the envelope behind. I could hear my heartbeat thumping in my ears. After she left, I couldn't contain my curiosity any longer. I rushed over to the apartment, my heart racing as I pulled the envelope off the coffee table. It was heavy, like it held the weight of my fears. I carefully opened it, my hands trembling. Inside were photographs, intimate moments captured between Lauren and another man. My breath hitched in my throat. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. "No, no, this can't be happening," I muttered, the world around me fading. Each photo was a dagger, carving deeper into my heart. How could Mark not see this? How could he be so blind? That night, I made a decision. I wouldn't let this destroy me. I would confront Lauren, but first, I needed to gather more evidence. I couldn't allow my emotions to cloud my judgment. I would show Mark the truth, even if it meant shattering his perceptions of love and loyalty. The following Tuesday, I parked nearby, waiting for Lauren to arrive.
My heart was pounding in anticipation, but I felt a surge of strength. I knew that today would be different. As I arranged the files on my desk, my heart raced, a blend of dread and determination coursing through me. The evidence was undeniable now. The photographs I'd found in that envelope had shattered my world. With each click of the camera shutter, I felt like I was stepping deeper into a nightmare. After another long day of waiting, I watched the clock on the wall. It was Tuesday afternoon, and my home felt more like a battlefield than a sanctuary. I could hear the faint sound of footsteps approaching, and I instinctively gripped the edge of my desk. My hands were clammy, and my resolve was starting to waver. I took a deep breath, reminding myself why I was doing this. The door opened, and there she was, Lauren, my son's wife. She stepped into the living room, her expression brightening momentarily at the sight of me. "Hey, Olivia, I wasn't expecting you home," she said, her words laced with an upbeat tone that felt false in my ears. Oh, just working from home today, I replied, forcing a smile, my mind racing with all I wanted to say but was too afraid to voice in that moment. As Lauren walked past me, I noticed the flutter of her jacket as she reached into her bag. My heart sank as I remembered the last time I had seen that jacket. It was Tuesday, the day she had come in, the day the envelope had disappeared. "What's in your bag, Lauren?" I asked, trying to sound casual but feeling the tension crackling in the air. "Oh, just some paperwork for Mark," she answered quickly, avoiding my gaze. "Really? Is that all?" I pressed, my voice steady despite the storm raging within me. She hesitated, and in that moment, I caught a glimpse of the panic in her eyes. It was an instant, but it felt like an eternity. "Yeah, just some stuff for his project," she stammered, fumbling with her bag. The confrontation was so close I could almost taste it, but I knew I needed more than mere suspicion. "You're lying," I said, my voice firmer than I felt. She froze for a moment, and I could see the wheels turning in her mind as she composed herself. "Olivia, come on, you're being ridiculous. I would never do anything to hurt Mark," she replied, her tone shifting from light to defensive. "Then why do you come here every Tuesday? Why do you leave an envelope that only disappears?" I pressed, every word imbued with the weight of my discovery. "Why does it matter?" she scoffed, crossing her arms. "If you don't trust me, that's not my problem." "I need to protect my son," I shot back, my voice trembling. "And if you're doing something behind his back?" "Doing something? What do you think I am doing?" Her tone shifted, now laced with anger, and I realized she was trying to turn the tables. But instead of feeling defensive, I felt empowered. "I have proof," I said, gathering my courage. "You think I haven't seen the photographs? The intimacy you share with someone else? Mark deserves to know the truth." Her face paled, and just as quickly, her bravado returned. "You're insane. None of that is real. You're just trying to stir up drama." "No, Lauren, I'm trying to protect my son from someone who doesn't respect our family." "That envelope was just the beginning," I said, my voice steady. At that moment, the door swung open, and Mark stepped in, his expression shifting from confusion to concern as he took in the tension in the room. "What's going on?" he demanded, looking between us. I turned to him, every nerve in my body on fire. "It's about Lauren," I said, watching his face harden as I continued. "You deserve to know what she's been hiding from you." "Mom, stop," Mark said, stepping between us. "Mark," I pleaded, my voice breaking, "I do know. I have proof. You have to believe me." Lauren laughed, a cruel sound that twisted my stomach. "Proof?" I stood in the living room, the envelope clutched tightly in my hand, as I waited for the confrontation. The air felt thick, heavy with unspoken words and unresolved feelings. My heart raced, but a calm certainty washed over me. I had come too far to turn back now. The door opened, and Mark walked in, oblivious to the storm brewing. He was wearing his usual relaxed smile, but it faded the moment he saw the tension in my face. "Hey, Mom, what's going on?" he asked, brow furrowing with concern. "Mark," I began, my voice steady but firm, "we need to talk about Lauren." His smile vanished completely, replaced by a defensive stance. "What about Lauren?" I took a deep breath, holding the envelope out. "You need to see this." He took a step back, glancing at the envelope as if it were a snake ready to strike. "What is this?" "Proof," I said, feeling the weight of the words settle in the air between us. "Proof that she's been betraying you?" Mark's eyes widened for a moment, then narrowed in disbelief. "You're wrong. Lauren would never do that." I bristled at his blind faith. "I've been watching her, Mark. Every Tuesday she comes here, and I found these inside." I opened the envelope, letting the photographs spill out onto the table. Each one captured a moment of Lauren in the arms of another man, intimate, raw, and undeniably real. Mark's face paled as he looked at the images, disbelief battling with the dawning realization. "You didn't," he whispered, backing away as if the evidence could reach out and harm him. My voice wavered with urgency. I had to know the truth. You can't just ignore what's happening right in front of you. "This isn't real," he shouted, frustration spilling over.
You're just looking for something to justify your feelings. Feelings? I scoffed, my hurt turning into frustration. It's not about my feelings, it's about your marriage. The woman you love is lying to you, Mark. His eyes darted back to the photographs, and for a moment I saw the flicker of realization in his expression. I need to talk to her, he muttered, turning on his heel, but I stepped in front of him, blocking his path. No, you need to listen to me first, I insisted. This is not just a misunderstanding, it's deeper than that. Mom, get out of my way, he snapped, anger flaring. Mark, if you go after her now, you'll only break your heart more. You need to think this through. He paused, anger slowly dissolving into confusion. Why would she do this? I thought we had something special. We did, until she became something else, I said gently, my heart aching for him. But you don't need to let her decision define your worth. Then what do you suggest? His voice was quieter now, the fight leaving him. Take control of this situation, Mark. Don't let her manipulate you. You deserve better than this, I urged, sensing a shift in his demeanor. Better? He chuckled bitterly, his eyes searching mine for answers. What does that even mean now? Everything I built is crumbling. You can rebuild, I pressed on, seizing the moment, but only if you confront her and stand your ground. You have to protect your heart. He seemed to consider my words, his expression softening. What if I confront her and it all turns out to be a mistake? What if she's not the person I thought she was? You'll never know unless you face it, I said, trying to infuse my words with the strength I had discovered in myself. Don't let doubt hold you back. This is your life, your love. Fight for it, but be prepared for the truth. Mark took a deep breath, visibly gathering his thoughts. And what about you? What are you going to do? I'll be here, I promised, feeling the weight of my own journey. You're not alone in this. I'll help you through whatever comes next, but only if you take this step. He nodded slowly, the anger in his eyes replaced by a flicker of hope. Okay, I'll confront her, he said, determination creeping into his tone. But if she's truly betrayed me... I reached out and squeezed his arm. You'll be okay, no matter what happens. As I sat in the cafe, the aroma of freshly brewed coffee filled the air, but I barely registered it. My thoughts were consumed by the turmoil of the past few weeks. I had taken control of my life in ways I never imagined possible, and yet I couldn't shake the weight of my decisions. Olivia, are you okay? My friend Sarah asked, sliding into the seat across from me, concern etched across her face. I forced a smile, the kind that felt more like a mask. Yeah, just thinking. About Mark and Lauren? She probed gently. I sighed and nodded. I confronted Lauren, and it was everything I feared. She was cold, unapologetic. I showed her the evidence, and she just laughed it off, like it was nothing. Like my world was nothing. Ugh, that's infuriating. Did Mark believe you? Sarah asked, her eyes narrowing as if she could practically see the injustice. For a moment, I replied, the frustration evident in my voice. But doubt clouded his mind. He's torn, caught between his loyalty to me and the life he built with her. Sarah reached across the table, placing her hand over mine. You've done everything you could. It's time he sees Lauren for who she truly is. My heart was heavy with the thought. I took the step to change the locks on my apartment. It was a symbol for me, a way to reclaim my safety and my space. Good, Sarah nodded, her tone firm. You're not just protecting your physical space, you're protecting your heart, your well-being. I appreciated her support. I never thought I would find strength in what felt like a betrayal of my family. But every text, every late-night meeting, it shifted something in me. I realized I could shape my future, even in the shadow of loss. Absolutely. You deserve peace, she said, her voice soothing. Have you thought about what's next, beyond the locks? I want to help other women who might be dealing with similar situations. No one should go through this alone. If confronting Lauren felt powerful, imagine the strength in helping someone else find their voice. Wow, Olivia, that's incredible. You have fire in you. You could really make a difference, Sarah encouraged. Thanks, I just feel this overwhelming drive, I admitted. But I also feel fearful. What if I can't help others? What if my experience doesn't resonate?
It will, Sarah insisted, her eyes sparkling with conviction. Your journey is real and raw. People connect with that. You're not just a victim of betrayal, you're a beacon of hope. The words ignited something within me, and I leaned forward, my determination blooming. I need to get the word out. I want to organize something in the community, a support group, or even workshops where women can share their stories and feel empowered. That's a great idea. You have so much to offer, Sarah said, her enthusiasm contagious. And it might help you find closure, too. As we chatted, my heart raced. Could I really do this? The thought felt both terrifying and exhilarating. I took a deep breath, my mind racing with possibilities. Later that evening, I got home and sat in the living room, the silence a stark contrast to the chatter of the cafe. I glanced at the locked door, a small victory in a sea of chaos. It felt good to know I had taken an active step forward. I pulled out my phone and began to draft a message to a few friends from my book club, asking if they would be interested in meeting together. Each word felt more like a confirmation of my new path. Suddenly, my phone buzzed with a new message. It was Mark. Can we talk? I've been thinking about everything. My heart raced. This was the moment I had been anticipating, but also dreading. I responded quickly. Sure, tonight? Yeah, I need to understand better, Olivia. I'm struggling with this. I took a breath, uncertainty washing over me. Did he really want to talk, or was he using this as a way to excuse his wife's actions? Yet a part of me felt hopeful. Okay, let's meet at my place. As I prepared for our conversation, I felt that familiar mix of anxiety and empowerment. I had been through the fire, and now I was a different person, ready to reclaim my narrative. When Mark arrived, the air felt thick with anticipation. The morning after Mark's message felt heavy, like thick clouds were pressing down on me. I could hardly focus on my coffee, the steam swirling above the cup like my racing thoughts. I stared out the window, watching the trees sway gently in the wind, trying to find some solace in nature's rhythm. As I picked up my phone, my heart raced. I wondered if talking to him would unlock a door to understanding or just lead me further into a labyrinth of pain. Mom? My phone chimed. It was Mark. His name on the screen pulled me into a whirlwind of emotions, love, disappointment, and even a flicker of hope. I took a deep breath and answered, bracing myself for whatever was to come. Hey Mark, I got your message, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Can we talk? I need to explain. He replied, his tone a mix of anxiety and urgency. Sure, when? I asked. Can you meet me at the park, the one by your old apartment? He sounded like a child needing reassurance, and in that moment, I felt a pang of sadness for the boy I once knew. Okay, I'll be there in 15, I said, my heart constricting. I arrived at the park, feeling the weight of the situation settle into my bones. Mark was already there, pacing, his hands stuffed into his pockets. He looked lost. I approached him slowly, trying to gauge his mood. Mom, he said, halting in front of me. Thank you for coming. I nodded, emotions swirling inside me. You said you needed to explain. He took a deep breath, searching for the right words. I've been thinking a lot since we last talked. Lauren, she's not who I thought she was. I tilted my head, listening intently. You mean you didn't know about the affair? I had my suspicions, but I didn't believe it, not until you showed me the evidence. His eyes were pained, reflecting a mixture of betrayal and confusion. I confronted Lauren last night. I felt my heart race. What happened? She admitted it. He looked down, almost ashamed. But she said she was unhappy, that I changed after we got married. I didn't see it at the time, but I guess I got caught up in my job. I wasn't present. I swallowed hard, feeling a strange mix of sympathy for him and anger at the situation. Mark, that doesn't excuse betrayal. You both chose to hurt each other. I know, he said, his voice breaking. I'm just trying to understand. I didn't want to lose my family, Mom. Then how can you fix this? You can't just sweep this under the rug, I replied, my heart aching for him. Trust takes time to rebuild. Mark nodded, his expression serious. I'm going to talk to a therapist. I want to understand my role in this, and I need to help Lauren too.
She's been struggling. Struggling? I shot back incredulously. Mark, she made choices. She had every opportunity to be honest with you. I get that, he said, frustration creeping into his tone. But I can't just let go of everything we built. I want to explore if we can work through this together. Together? I could hardly mask my disbelief. You want to keep her in your life after everything? I don't know, Mom, but I need to try, he said. His desperation was palpable, like he was clinging to a life raft in a stormy sea. And what about your happiness? I asked softly. He ran a hand through his hair, looking more vulnerable than I had ever seen him. I want to be a good husband. I want to fix this, if it's fixable. Fixable, I repeated, feeling my heart ache for the reality he was trying to grasp. You need to think about what you deserve too. You can't keep putting other people's needs above your own. I came here to ask for your support, Mom. His voice softened, the anger fading into a plea. I know I messed up. I never wanted to hurt you either. I looked into his eyes, searching for the boy I raised, the one who believed in love, integrity, and family. You still have that chance, Mark. I sat in my living room, the faint light of the afternoon sun filtering through the curtains, casting soft shadows on the carpet. My heart was still racing from my conversation with Mark earlier. He had reached out, wanting to talk. I could hear hints of desperation in his voice as he explained how he confronted Lauren, how he had finally uncovered the truth. But even though he seemed remorseful, I couldn't shake off the feeling of betrayal that had settled deep within me. Olivia, please, I'm confused about everything, he had said. I thought I was being loyal. I didn't realize Lauren was manipulating.
I didn't see it before. His words echoed in my mind. Manipulation. It was the very foundation of their relationship. And now, as he spoke of confusion, I found it hard to muster any sympathy. You should have seen it coming, Mark. It was right in front of you, I replied, my voice steady but heavy with emotion. How could you not notice? I thought we were happy, he insisted, his tone a mix of desperation and regret. I never wanted to hurt you. I couldn't help but chuckle bitterly at that. You did hurt me, Mark. I'm still picking up the pieces. After hanging up, I glanced around my newly secured apartment. Changing the locks had felt like a declaration of independence. It was a step toward reclaiming my life, a way to keep my sanctuary safe from intruders, both physical and emotional. I took a deep breath and decided to call Emily. She had been my anchor through all of this. Hey, I said when she picked up, her voice instantly soothing. Olivia, how are you holding up? I'm okay, I replied, the word feeling too simple for what I was experiencing. I talked to Mark. He's confused. He still thinks he deserves some sort of sympathy because he was fooled. I felt a knot form in my stomach. But the truth is, I'm done feeling sorry for him. Good, you shouldn't have to shoulder his guilt, she said firmly. Right, and it's just so exhausting. I keep going over the same conversations in my head, trying to figure out where it all went wrong. Stop that, she interrupted. You need to focus on you now. What's next? I hesitated. I've been thinking about how I can help others, other women who might be going through something similar. That sounds perfect, Emily said, enthusiasm lacing her voice. You have a story that needs to be heard. As we talked, I could feel a fire igniting inside me. I had spent too long feeling defeated, and it was time to channel those feelings into something positive. After we hung up, I felt empowered. I started jotting down ideas for a support group, a place where women could gather, share their stories, and rebuild their lives together. Days passed, each moment bringing a mixture of pain and hope. I saw Mark a few more times, but our discussions were often strained. He wanted to understand my perspective, to make amends, but I wasn't sure I was ready to forgive. I craved clarity, wanting my own feelings to settle into something that no longer felt like a storm. Then came the day of the court hearing. I stood in front of the judge, my heart pounding, but I felt a sense of calm wash over me as I prepared to share my truth. Mark sat across from me, his expression a blend of regret and frustration. I focused on my testimony, detailing the cracks in our foundation, the moments of infidelity that had led me to reclaim my life. When I finished speaking, I glanced at him, and for the first time, I saw a flicker of realization in his eyes. Maybe he finally understood the consequences of his actions. The judge ruled in my favor, and as I left the courtroom, I felt lighter, liberated from the weight I had carried for too long. After that victory, I began to organize meetings. My first gathering attracted a small group of women, all eager to share their experiences. As I listened to their stories, I saw pieces of my own past reflected in theirs. Together, we laughed, cried, and lifted each other up. I felt fulfilled in ways I hadn't expected. Yet, amid this blossoming new life, I acknowledged the loneliness that still crept in during quiet moments. I accepted it for what it was, a part of my journey.